Okay, so you guys are going to learn about something called the Pythagorean identity. It kind of looks like the Pythagorean theorem. You know, we're squaring something plus something squared equals a 1 squared is 1. So this is going to come out of a triangle in the unit circle where your a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but c is the hypotenuse of your triangle, and in the unit circle the hypotenuse is 1. So what is the sine of theta if cosine of theta is equal to negative 3 over 5 and the angle with measure theta is in quadrant 3? So we're going to draw a coordinate plane and our unit circle like we've been doing. Let's go ahead and just acknowledge this is a 1 and a negative 1. That's a positive 1, that's a negative 1 down there. Okay, so we have an angle in quadrant 3. So let's draw an angle into quadrant 3. We don't know where it is or what the angle measure is, but here's our angle in quadrant 3. We'll call that theta. And what we can do is use the terminal point on the unit circle. We can create a reference triangle right there. And that terminal point has an xy value. And remember, the cosine of theta equals x. The sine of theta equals y. So essentially, that actually gives us two sides of our triangle. From the origin, this side would be, we're going to the left, so that's an x value. So that's a cosine of theta. And then we have, if we go to the left and then we go down for the other side of our triangle, this would be a y value, which we said our y value is sine of theta. And our hypotenuse is 1. So we were told that the cosine of theta is a negative 3/5. So I'm just going to put a negative 3/5 up there by cosine of theta. And we're being asked to find sine of theta. So we're going to use our Pythagorean identity, plug in what we know, do a little solving. So Pythagorean theorem, sine squared of theta plus cosine squared of theta equals 1. We don't know sine squared of theta, but we know what cosine of theta is. So cosine of theta is a negative 3/5. We're going to square that side of our triangle, equals 1. So we can square a triangle. Negative 3/5 times negative 3/5 is a positive 9/25 equals 1. Let's solve for sine. So we're going to subtract 9/25, subtract 9/25. Sine squared of theta is, so 1 minus 9/25 is the same thing as 25/25 minus 9/25. I mean, you can use your calculator, or sometimes you can just think about, oh, this 1 is a whole, and I'm working with 25ths, so just think of it as 25 over 25. You get 16/25. Now, because we have sine squared of theta, we can square root both sides. That leaves us with just sine of theta. Square root of 16 over 25 does have positive and negative values. You would square root the 16 to get 4, square root the 25 to get 5. And then we would ask ourselves, well, will sine be positive or negative over here in this quadrant? From the origin, we're going to the left, so we know our cosine is negative. And then we're going down. So if you're going down, that y value, that sine of theta, is going to be negative. So we're going to say sine of theta is a negative 4/5. Had we been up in a different quadrant, let's see up here, we would have gone up for a positive y value. We would have picked the positive 4/5 for that one.